Welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast. This is a show all about implanting hope in our hearts. I'm Bill Snyder, joined by my friend Ann DeSantis. We're glad you're here for our uplifting conversation about faith and how it sustains our hearts through all the seasons of life. Thanks for walking with us. And hello, everybody, and welcome to the Sowing Hope podcast. I am Bill Snyder, and thank you so much for joining us today. As you can see, I'm joined by my wonderful co-host, Ann DeSantis. And we're back here on the Sowing Hope podcast after a good long hiatus, folks. But I think it's for good reason, Ann, that we took a extended break. Mainly because we just finished releasing, or Patchwork Heart Ministry, Fiat Ministry Network just finished releasing a documentary all about the Shroud of Turin. And so here we are getting ready to, or we've already launched it, so we're going to continue talking about that today. Who do you say I am? But welcome, Ann, and it's always awesome to be on the air with you.
Oh, you too, Bill. And like you said, it's great to be back, but there was a good reason because you and Kent Kohaski and your team, mostly though the two of you, were preparing for this wonderful documentary, Who Do You Say I Am, which is a documentary about the Shroud of Turin, which is the burial cloth of Jesus Christ. And so it's a very exciting endeavor. And Bill, I know you've been working, I don't want to say around the clock, but almost just about the past few days, right?
Yeah.
Things have been pretty busy. And so it's a real blessing for us to do this podcast where we can really educate you, our audience, about this documentary and make an invitation for you to watch the film. And I want to read to all of you my own testimonial, which is on Bill's website at patchworkheart.org under the Shroud Film page. I say, my testimonial is that Who Do You Say I Am has changed my life and my appreciation of the sacrifice of Jesus. This documentary should be shared by every archdiocese and church in the country and beyond. And that was my statement. I really, truly mean that. I think it's a perfect film to be watched by everyone, especially people who want to enrich their faith and learn more. Bill, what was it like for you to create this documentary?
Ann, it was a freak accident of the Holy Spirit is how I described it during our launch parties here in Milwaukee. We had two wonderful launch parties. I want to give a big shout out and thank you to Inspiration Studios in West Allis, Wisconsin. They did the world premiere of the film on the 21st and 22nd. We had a two-night premiere. But I described it as a complete freak accident because it really was that. Kent and I have an awful lot of conversations off the air and through Messenger, and we chat quite a bit about just how and what to toss out there and bring to people, content wise, right? So everything from doing shows like Journeys in Faith or Sowing Hope, or some of the shows that he has, like the Fiat Ministry show, we're always looking for people to come on, to be a part of our network, and to, enrich people's lives. That's really what it comes down to. And so Kent and I were having this conversation, probably about, 2 years ago. And he was saying, I know this guy, Brian Walsh, who is a Shroud of Turin expert, and we're just kind of going on Zoom and just kind of cataloging all of his work. He's doing some slide presentations with us, and he is really on fire for the faith. But he's getting older, and he wants to catalog his knowledge, And what better way to do that through video form or Zoom? I mean, we have all these amazing technologies. And I said to him, Kent, why don't we invite Brian? If he's this good, why don't we invite Brian to do a documentary on the Shroud? I mean, we can create something that is, visually engaging and just a little bit more than a Zoom meeting, right? Like we all are so familiar with Zoom that sometimes we just tune it out. It's like, or it becomes so, academic. I mean, there's Zoom calls for college kids or whatever. And so, studying in classes and all these things. So let's make this really an entertainment piece and you hate to use that word entertainment, but because it's educational and it's spiritually moving and all of those things, but it also needs to be entertaining, right? We also need to be able to entertain. And so Kent and I had this conversation. I said, Brian, see if he'll jump on a Zoom call. And so we jumped on the Zoom call, and there are many twists and turns to the story. But the reality is that the reality is that we ended up creating this film that was released Ash Wednesday. So here we are. So here we are. And I'm so excited and I'm so pumped up that we have done that. It's out, it's released, it's available, and we're going to encourage people to get it. I know. So so thank you, Ann, for all of your support, because without your support of this film, we wouldn't be able to do this.
Oh, well, that means a lot, Bill. And, I think God is always drawing all of us to Him. And with this film, when I watched it, really, it does exactly what you say it does, which it blends science and faith. And so, any of those skeptics who watch this film afterwards, they're going to say, oh my goodness, I better rethink my doubts. I better rethink the fact that I'm doubting who Jesus really is in my life. And I would recommend it highly for people who are away from their faith. And it's a wonderful evangelization tool for churches. And I think that was a wonderful thing that you did, Bill, you and Kent and others who were involved, as you said, Brian, of course, um, to make this film to help others, because really that's what it's all about, to help them to believe, to help them to live the faith in the best of ways. I mean, right now we're taping this in the Lenten season. I think it's a perfect opportunity right now for you who are listening to this podcast to watch this film. Maybe when you're finished listening to or watching this podcast, you can go to patchworkheart.org to the Shroud Film page and get more information. Now, I would love to talk about the opportunities, Bill, that people have to watch this film. Now, I do want to make a note for people that it isn't free to watch it. Okay, costed money, obviously, to produce. So there is going to be a little bit of an investment just to view it. But it's very, very reasonably priced, Bill, I would say, for individuals who want to rent it. I believe you told me it's $4 to
Yeah,
rent.
$3.99. Yeah.
And right, $3.99, and I think you said that it's $7.99,
Yep.
so that an individual can watch that, and they can watch it at any time later on.
Yeah.
So, Bill, would you explain those opportunities? Because it's not just that; you also have these special licensing agreements that the churches and organizations can purchase.
Yeah, absolutely. And I want to first of all thank CMAX TV as well, and Breadbox Media Network, because both of them are carrying the film, or they're going to carry it. So CMAX, it's available right now, and you can actually go onto our website or CMAX's website and subscribe, and that's a monthly subscription. But the cool thing is that you actually get all the other content. It's like a Catholic Netflix, and I've been challenging people on social media this Lent to give up their Netflix subscription and replace it with CMAX, because CMAX has not just catechetical stuff. They have entertainment. I mean, movies and all kinds of things. They've got thousands and thousands of movies and TV shows in their library that you can subscribe to, and you simply go over to cmax.tv. If you go through our website, though, that's really the best way to hit their link, so you can do that. Subscribe to CMAX TV, $13 a month, but outside of just subscribing for $13 a month, you can purchase the film directly, as you were alluding to, Ann. So for $3.99, you can rent it for 3 days. You can watch it as much as you want for those 3 days. I like to say that 3 days, it was kind of like where kind of the sweet spot for the Shroud, right? Jesus took 3 days in the tomb, so here we are. You can rent it for 3 days as well, and then you can also purchase it outright for it's $8, $7.99, and when you purchase it, it's available in your Vimeo account forever. So you buy it. It's available for you to watch, stream, at will as much as you want. The other option there for Vimeo Ot is a option that you can gift it to somebody, and we've already had several people who have gifted it to others. So, whether it's a birthday or a graduation that's upcoming or whatever, I mean, you gift it to them for Easter, or just a special gift. You can click gift this, you can pay for it for them, and you can send it on to them. And you can either gift a rental or you can gift a, lifetime purchase of that. So, that's for individuals, right? Individuals for CMAX, individuals for our website, this Vimeo Ot streaming platform that we created for this film. And again, it's available through patchworkheart.org. You mentioned the tab up there on the top of our website that says Shroud Film. You click on that, you scroll through that page, you'll see the reviews, you'll see the ability to purchase it or to subscribe to CMAX. But in addition to that, we also have those licensing options that Ann, you were talking about too. And so we want this, and really it was, right? We've already had that encounter, that success in a group setting last week. So I can tell you that people are hungry to have the conversation, because last week we did have the conversation at Inspiration Studios. We had like 21 people show up for our launch on the February 21st, and so they gave up all their jelly donuts and came to the passion of something to view, this beautiful passion, this beautiful documentary. They gave that up and they came, and then they stayed almost till 10 o'clock at night asking questions about the Shroud and just wanting to encounter more. And it was beautiful. The question and answer session was amazing after the film with these group of people. And I really encourage you to, if you're a pastor, have the conversation, because I know your parishioners are hungry for it. They really, really want to talk about this and talk about, how Jesus can, if he rose from the dead and he left this artifact, this relic of himself, this selfie image of himself, if that's the case and it's true, it ratifies everything we believe in. And there's amazing conversations that can continue from this. And so what we did is we created a study guide. It's available for free on our website. It's actually a companion guide, we call it. And William Hemsworth, a great friend of the ministry, wrote it for us. He watched the film because, I've seen the film probably 130 times, 140 times, right? Editing this. So I needed to be able to take a step back and give it to somebody and say, hey, will you write it for me, so that I can see kind of what comes through in your mind. And so William did an amazing job writing this entire study guide to the film, man, and it's available on our website. But I encourage pastors and priests or DREs, adult faith formation people, whoever you are that is in leadership in a parish, look at this. It is not expensive. $250 for one showing of the film. That's a minor investment in the parish budget, a real minor investment in a parish budget to show the film once. Or if you're really hooked on this, and by the way, we'll send you an evaluation copy so you can see it. We would never ask anybody to buy anything that they haven't seen, right? I mean, that's kind of something that we believe in, that we would never ask anybody to purchase something they haven't seen. So so you will get an evaluation copy of the film, and if you love it, if you like it, you can do a one-time showing, $250, or you can also purchase it for a one-year license or a lifetime license of $1,200. So 1 year is $1,000, and then $1,200 would be for a lifetime. And that means that you can show the film in RCIA groups, you can show it to confirmation students, you can show it as much as you want during that year or forever, depending on which license you get. Because parishioners change, they have different dates, or your rep classes, RCA classes change every year. It could be something that becomes a staple of showing that. I've had people reach out to me and say, hey, are you available to do this for RCIA and different things? And I said, absolutely. We want this to be a conversation starter, not a one-time, event. I mean, it's great if it's a one-time event, but we would love it to be, more than that. So just think about it, pray about it. If you are a pastor of a parish, because, this could be really, really good.
Yeah, I agree. I like the fact that you describe all the different ways that people can watch the film, offer it to others. I think it's a perfect offering, not only for churches, organizations, but actually all whole dioceses and the archdiocese. In fact, that was what I said on my own testimonial on the website, that I do believe that it will really transform hearts and will help the church to grow. Because, one of the reasons why people leave the church is that they question their faith. And I really do think that this whole idea of the blending of science and faith is a way that we can answer those questions that people have about Jesus, about the resurrection, about his mission. And as Bill said, that he left this relic, right? This relic of himself, so that people would be able to look at that and recognize that question, right? What is that question? Who do you say I am? Bill, I wondered what you could share with us. You said that you've watched the film so many times because of all the work that you did. What is something very special that you learned about the documentary that has changed and transformed your own faith?
Yeah.
Because that's where it starts, isn't it? It starts within our own hearts.
I'll tell you, Ann, I've been, undone by God's grace throughout this entire process multiple times. And I will tell you that there are so many things that I didn't know coming into this, right? There are so many things I had absolutely no idea about the shroud. I had always had an interest, a passing interest in it. I had seen some documentaries on it, but I really getting an opportunity to talk at length with, two experts in the shroud. Their lives have been spent, decades have been spent studying this thing, studying this beautiful holy relic. And so just getting the opportunity to talk with them and sit across from them for a good 4 hours. I mean, I interviewed Richard for about 2 hours. I interviewed Brian for about an hour, and then just had all these follow-up conversations with them throughout the course of the process of making the film and going back and forth with them. That, I mean, I learned things, about the history of the shroud that I had no idea that had to go in the film. Things like the fact that the shroud was buried in a wall for 500 years, or 400 years. It gets lost in a wall for 400 years because a bishop is worried about the safety of the shroud. So what does he do? He buries it in a wall. The fact that, and then miraculously, how it's found, right? How is it found? It's found through an appearance of a beautiful lady to another bishop who says, "Your city's under attack by the Persians. Why don't you show this shroud off, and it's going to repel the Persians?" And the bishop's like, "What shroud? Let me show you. It's in a wall." And so here the bishop follows this beautiful lady's advice. Is it the Blessed Mother? Is it an appearance of the Blessed Mother? Possibly. She shows him where it is. They discover the shroud buried in this wall, and they take it out, and what happens? The army's defeated. The attack is defeated. There are so many beautiful things about this. I mean, the fact that I didn't know that the shroud was hidden from Adolf Hitler in World War II. It was actually hidden from him. And then, of course, that's just the history. You get into the science of it, and it'll knock your socks off. It'll just blow you away. All the scientific, research and evidence and pollen that we talk about in the film. I want people to watch it, so I'm going to stop because there's just so many different amazing things about the shroud that you can learn and grow in faith from. And then we even delve into the theology of it. So Brian will even delve into the theology of it and talk about what the blood type means on the shroud, and the fact that Christ had AB blood, and what does that mean for our salvation, and how does that mirror like what we believe as Catholics and Christians about Jesus, accepting and receiving all of our sins on the cross. So, I mean, even the blood type, found on the shroud, links it to that. There's so many things, that we pack in there in 53 minutes. You all get a chance to see it for 53 minutes. I've watched that over and over and over again, editing it, and so is Kent. I mean, just watching it and delving into it. But yeah, so we're really blessed to have this tool. We can't wait for people to watch it, and I encourage you to encounter it and then go on social media, share it, and share what you learned. Say you got to go watch this because man, I'm learning stuff about my faith. So science really, really, really helps us grow in faith when we faithfully follow it. When we faithfully follow science, and we use our, in fact, that's a line that Brian uses. When we faithfully follow science, faith and science blend. They blend to form the truth. And as he says, the truth is on that cloth, and it's just a beautiful, beautiful little promo, sentence, but it's the truth, and you can see their conviction, their belief in this, both Brian and Richard's conviction, after decades of studying it and encountering it. It's truly beautiful, and so I'm just blessed to be able to put it on the screen. I'm just blessed to be able to put it on the screen, Ann.
Yes, and I'm blessed to just discuss it with you on this podcast and to promote it to my own friends, followers, and people through the foundation that I represent. For those who are watching this podcast and maybe they are followers of the St. Raymond Donatus Foundation, that Patchwork Heart Ministry and Fiat Ministry Network has helped us so much over the years with our own podcast and even producing this very podcast, Sowing Hope, which helps to, as we say, sow hope into broken hearts. And I do believe that this film does the same thing. It actually does hope to, help to bring faith to those who maybe have lost their faith. Bill, I did want to ask you a question about the age groups that are appropriate for the film for people who are watching. Is there a beginning age that you would recommend? I mean, obviously, it can go all the way up through the end of life, but what age would you say, as far as the kids would be able to start to watch this film?
Yeah, let me just tell you that, first of all, Amanda Lauer, if you go onto CatholicMom.com, there's a beautiful film review, and it's completely reviewed. I mean, she did an amazing job there. So, CatholicMom.com, it's under the media tab, media section. You'll see a thing about our film, and that she just did a wonderful job reviewing the film. And in that review, she mentions that it would be appropriate for mature teens through the end of life, and of course adults. But what the reason for that is because we do go into what crucifixion is, and we go into it from a scientific perspective. It is graphic discussion. There is no graphic pictures on the screen. We did our best to avoid graphic pictures. Is there some blood and nails and stuff like that, and some shots? Yes. But as far as anybody being nailed to a cross, you're not going to see that on the screen. But we are going to discuss it, and that could be troubling for some immature teens. The other thing that we do discuss in this film is conception, and we liken the flash that is found in conception to the flash that is found in the resurrection. And so we do have that in the film as well, and what that means. Do you want to be explaining that to a preteen or somebody who hasn't experienced that, or you haven't told about conception and what that is? So I would say mature teens through adults. Amanda was very spot on that. But if you're in 11th grade confirmation class, I wouldn't hesitate to show it to them. College students, I wouldn't hesitate to show it to them. But again, parents, make your own decision, right? Feel free to watch the film if you believe your teen and you've had those discussions with them. Watch it ahead of time before you show it to your teens. but it is a hope-filled film. This is not something that is about dragging people down, into the muck of crucifixion and gore. Like that's not our goal. Our goal is to uplift people in faith, but we do have to talk about those things because they're found on the shroud, and we have to talk about Roman crucifixion because here's a guy that was whipped over 350 times, and he bled and gave his life for the world. So just keep that in mind as we talk. Talk about this. Continue to talk about this because show it to your teens, but maybe give it a watch first. You know, because we certainly don't want anybody to walk away from the film going, "Oh man, I shouldn't have shown that to my fifth grader or something." We want people to be uplifted in their faith, and if they can wait till they're a few years down the line and watch it, then they're going to walk away with so much more. So that's what I would say, Ann. I mean, I don't know your feelings on it. I mean, I know you've seen it, so I don't know your feelings on it. Obviously, come
Well,
in a
my
different
feelings on it
perspective.
are exactly what you said. I think it is perfect for mature teens through adulthood and senior adulthood or end of life, whatever, however you want to state that. I think that's perfectly stated, Bill. I think it's wonderful also for that young adult crowd at college age, um, especially for those people who are very scientific minded, right? And maybe question the validity of Jesus as our Savior and what we believe as Catholics. So please do. The invitation is to go to patchworkheart.org and go to the Shroud Film tab and look at all the opportunities that you have first to view the film. And I'm just going to reiterate again, you can simply pay the $3.99 to have 3 days to watch the film, or you can pay the I believe it's $7.99 to be able to individually continue to watch that film indefinitely. And I think that's a wonderful invitation. So please do. That's the first step. And then the next step is you like the film, you love the film, and now you want to share it with your pastor, you want to share it with your organization and your archdiocese and diocese. And that's how you help Patchwork Heart Ministry too. And that's how you help Fiat Ministry Network is by telling your friends about it. And that's exactly what I'm doing too. I'm going to be, and I continue to share it with people that I know and with my own family and people that I really believe will benefit from watching this beautiful documentary. Bill, thanks for doing such a great job with it. You really spent so much time over the last several months. You and I have been doing Sowing Hope now for 3 years. I can't believe it.
Yeah.
And I know you pretty well because we communicate a lot about our podcast. And I can personally say that Bill has really devoted his heart to this documentary and Kent to really giving you the best presentation of the Shroud of Turin. Who do you say I am? That question, right? That we all
Yeah.
ask. And so I just think that if you really like to watch good Catholic films and you want to be enriched in your faith, then this is the film that you need to watch. It
Yeah.
really is. And please share it with people that you know, especially those that are really questioning their faith.
Yeah.
At the St. Raymond and Nonnatus Foundation, we make pastoral outreach to families in crisis. And I can't say what a better film is than this, where those families and individuals who have family members that have walked away.
Yeah.
This would be a great gift, like Bill said. So please do go to patchworkheart.org to the Shroud Film page and take that first step and please watch the film.
No,
Bill,
thank you,
thank
man.
you so much for all you do.
Absolutely. And, folks, I just want to mention, as Ann, you kind of alluded to it before we wrap up, that this comes from a Catholic perspective. So this is written by Catholics. It is produced by Catholics, and Catholics star in this film as the experts. Both Brian and Richard are faithful Catholics. Uh, you know, I am faithful Catholic. Kent's a faithful Catholic. We present our Catholic faith through this. We're not, this is not something you're going to find on the Discovery Channel. they're going to start popping up again, folks. You're going to be able to watch Shroud documentaries for free as you get closer to Holy Week, because every year the History Channel puts them on, Discovery Channel puts them on. You're going to start seeing them pop up on secular social media or on secular, channels on your cable or YouTube TV or whatever. It's going to start happening, right? You're going to see that. What you're not going to see is, in those documentaries, the faithful Catholic perspective. So that's what differentiates this film. People ask me, why did you create another film on the Shroud of Turin? There's so many of them out there. The reason why is because there are very few that come at it from a Catholic faith perspective. Science, faith, they blend together. You're not going to find that on History Channel. You're going to find something that's out there questioning or something more along the science end of things. Watch our film, delve into our film. I promise you're going to walk away with a deeper faith, because everybody that's seen it so far has said that. So they're going to walk away with a deeper faith, a more profound encounter. But folks, I really appreciate you joining us for this episode of Sowing Hope. I encourage you to friend, follow us on social media. We are in need of that. So if you go over to the social media accounts, YouTube and all that good stuff, follow, subscribe to us, like us. We appreciate you tuning in. And until next time, may God bless you and keep beating to your Catholic hearts. Thanks for listening to this episode of Sowing Hope on Patchwork Heart Radio. For more information about this podcast and our ministries, visit our websites, patchworkheart.org and andesantis.com. You can also follow and interact with us on Twitter at PWH Ministry or Andy Santis 2.